and lies among the distal properties of the ecosystem. The strength of this work lies in its revealing how perceptions and interactions in relationships and in settings such as poverty, neighborhoods, or childcare can make a difference for children's well-being. The third theory is the culture as caste cultural, which are ecological theories of adaptation in stratified societies. According to John Alvey, an anthropologist, universal models of child rearing and competence based on studies. This theory explained the widespread school failure of minority children in terms of either of cultural deficiencies in their family experiences or of their genetic inferiority. The strength of these theories stems from its explicitly addressing inequalities in access or performance and speaking to the experiences of specific communities. The fourth theory is the culture as intergroup relations, or the social identity theory. According to John Berry, Marilyn Brewer, and Henry Tappel, members of all societies engage in social categorization and re-categorization. Tappel believes that social identity is constructed in the context of attitudes towards one's group and is related to prejudice, intergroup conflict, culture, and acculturation. Brewer stated that individuals' motivation to claim and express their social identities depends on competing needs for inclusiveness and uniqueness, whereby people seek optimal level of distinctness and choosing a group. The strength of this theory lies in their having linked universal and community-specific research goals. They focus on individual, interpersonal, and institutional processes considered universal. The fifth theory is, and the last, is the culture as capital, theories of structure, agency, and social capital. According to Pierre Bourdieu, a sociologist, social capital is a community linked to benefits in the social world, can be converted in other forms of capital, can be reproduced in same or expanded or form. Bourdieu and Coleman, also a psychologist, view social capital as rooted in the family, with networks among the elite families benefiting their children through links to college and occupational status. The concepts of social capital are useful for understanding the role of culture in the academic performance of diverse youth within the nation.
Good day everyone, I'm John Francis Arconsultado and I would like to discuss about my topic about the components of culture. So let's start first with this question. What is culture anyways? Culture is defined to be in the dictionary with the way of the living of the person or of an individual or group of people. The culture also comprises of different components that are necessary for its members and for society to participate well in the social life and interactions. Well, culture has four components. It is the communication, cognitive, material, and behavior. So okay guys, let's start first with the symbols. Symbols is anything that represents something else. It can be either a material object, a flag or cross, or a non-material element such as sounds or gestures. As a member of culture, we are constantly and thoroughly surrounded by symbols. Examples this and when we stop in the red light, we obey the symbolic command. Symbols carry shared meanings and among people and they can be used to produce loyalty or hostility. In short, the meaning of the symbol may depend on the users. Next is language. A major symbolic system in use in all human society is language. Other species have linguistic systems, but human language is significantly different. For most language-using species, the capacity for language is genetically determined and fixed. Linguistic elements are not learned and do not change over time. Human language comprises of two basic components: vocabulary, the list of all existing words, and grammar, the rules of combinations. These two components are the basic tools that can then be used by the component member of society to produce a wide range of expression. Norms are considered as rules and expectations eventually set by a particular society to serve as the guide to the behavior of its members. Varies in the terms of degrees in importance and might be changed over a period of time. It is reinforced by sanctions in the forms of rewards and punishments. These are standards accepted by society, culturally, and serve as obligatory and expected behaviors of the people in a different situation in life. Mores are kinds of norms that are considered to be as customary behavior patterns, which have taken from a normalistic view. while law serve as the formal important norms that translated into legal formations. Folkways are considered as behavior patterns of particular society that is repetitive and organized. Rituals, on the other hand, are those highly scripted ceremonies of interactions, which follow a sequence of actions. Example are the baptism, holidays, and more. The fourth major component of culture is the material component. This includes the materials or objects created by humans for practical use for artistic reasons. These objects are called as material culture. Material components serve as an expression of an individual culture.
Language and culture. Humans learn their culture through language. Without human language, human culture would not exist because what we say influences what we think, what we feel, and what we believe. Both culture and language plays a vital role in the maintenance of good human social relationships. And because language is a creative and open system and is extremely flexible, it can communicate new ideas and concepts towards culture and everyday living. Culture is like blood, it flows in our body, but we do not usually see it. It gives us a line of social beings. As soon as we are born, we start developing our culture, which we share with all the members of our group. Our culture will affect and determine our behavior during all phases of our life. Culture is a group's way of life. They shape and influence all human behavior, including concept. A culture is like a network shared by a group of people who identify themselves with that group. Through behavioral rules, habits, and traditions, they are tied and connected together. But even if we are born in the same place, in the same house of our parents and grandparents, our culture is not the same. So, counseling relationships towards individual is merely a great influence on cultural systems and belief of his or her client. It is in turn that counselors provide great insights and application of approaches in counseling based from people's cultural differences, behaviors, and viewpoints. Because individuals has their own cultural belief and language in the manner of living, the basis of counseling should adjust and adapt to what individual has developed. Different worldviews based on the experience that influence their various languages. For many people, language is not just a medium of culture, but it is also a part of culture. Linguistic differences are also often seen as the mark of another culture, and it is generally
the Philippines is well known around the world by our roots and culture. Given our rich history and practices, which shape our beliefs and tradition, we value our tradition very much that sometimes it contradicts the natural ways of life. The Filipino value system, or the core values that the Filipinos have, historically held an important role in the Philippines. This Philippine value system includes their own unique semblance of consistent ideologies, moral codes, ethical practices, and etiquettes. As with any society though, the values that an individual holds sacred can differ on the basis of religion, upbringing, and other factors. As general description, the distinct value system of Filipinos is rooted primarily in the personal alliance system, especially those based in kinship, obligation, friendship, religion, specifically the Christianity, and commercial relationships. Filipino values is centered mainly on the relationships we have towards other people. It is focused mainly on making harmonious relationship with others. Other values that Filipino have or known the most is hiya and amor proprio. Based on studies, surveys, opinions, anecdotes, and other literatures made by experts and researchers in relation to Filipino social values or Filipino core values, along with the Filipino character or Filipino identity of a person or an individual known as the Filipino. The Filipino value system are found to possess inherent key elements. Among them are optimism about the future, pessimism with regards to the present situation or current events, the concern and care for other people, and existence of friendship and habit of being hospitable, religious nature, respectful to self and others, respect for the female member of society, the fear of God, and abhorrence of acts of cheating and thievery. Out of these core values, the Psikologiyang Pilipino was born. It was founded by Virgilio Enriquez, which is considered to be the ama ng Psikologiyang Pilipino. Psikologiyang Pilipino stresses the value of kapwa or togetherness. It has two categories, the ibang tao or outsider, and hindi ibang tao or one of us. It also stresses the sense of hiya or propriety, utang na loob or reciprocity, and pakikisama or conformity. Filipinos also believes in natural medicine and faith healing. For example, is hilot or massage, which is used to aid a pregnant mother in delivery of her child. Kulang or hex or bewitchment is also known to be believed by most of the Filipinos. The food is also one of the trademarks of being a Filipino. We like exotic foods and experimenting with ingredients. In conclusion, we Filipinos has a rich culture and belief that we value so much. We have to this because it is already the trademark of the Filipino people. It strengthens our own identity, which makes us proud to be a Filipino.
Culture is the one thing that separates us from the rest of the world. Our colorful and lively living that makes us distinctly Filipino. The ingenuity, the dance, language, arts, etc., which are found in museums, churches that we can see in Manila, and also found in the heart of these cities. Most provinces have their own identifying folk dances, wherein they showcase their elegance and the most precious beauty, the way we do things. Just like the way we dress, the way we talk, the way we communicate with others. That's not all. When you have lived in the Philippines long enough, you'll know that it's not exaggerated or exaggeration to say that there is a town that's celebrating its fiesta every single day.
We've been colonized by the Spaniards. 92% of the Filipinos are Christians. 82% of them belongs to the Roman Catholic Church. 2% belongs to the independent churches. 10% belongs to the various Protestant denominations. Filipino culture is blended to the indigenous traditions of the Philippines with the Hispanic and American cultures, and also have the distinct cultural basis of Chinese and Indonesians and Indians. Well, however, despite of all the influences, the native moral codes are still intact. The respect for the family, venerations of elders, and friendliness continue the marks of a Filipino social life.
The culture of the Philippines reflects the country's complex history. It has been influenced by many religions and many nations worldwide. They have been occupied for a long time by Spain and then the Americans by a few decades. The Japanese came and then the Americans again. Filipinos themselves like to be influenced and perhaps a little too much. They take the pride in the fact they can copy other cultures and perhaps make their practice even better than the original. First of all, the Spaniards are the first colonizers of the Philippines. For more than 300 years, the Philippines was under Spanish rule. Spain-made influence can be seen in religion, as the Philippines is the only Catholic country in Asia. Spain also used religion to rule over the running and enslaved a lot of Filipino. These days, Spain's influence, other than Catholicism, can be seen in the food, language, and foreign language that we use. Next is the United States. The United States were the only here for a long time, and for a lot of historians, their conquest of the Philippines was a fluke. History shows that the Philippines was ready to take over Intramuros, the seat of power, at the time when Spain sold the Philippines to the United States via Treaty of Paris. Nevertheless, the influence is much greater of the Philippines, has been influenced by Western and Eastern ideology of philosophy of the United States, Spain, and its neighboring Asian countries. Philippine students enter public school at the age of 4, starting from nursery school up to the kindergarten. And about 7 years of age, students enter elementary school, 6 to 7 years old. This is followed by high school, which costs 5 years. Students then take the college entrance examination, or CEE, after which they enter college or university 3 to 5 years. Other types of school include private school, preparatory school, international school, preparatory high school, and science high school. Of these schools, private Catholic schools are the most famous. Catholic schools are prepared in the Philippines due to their religious beliefs. Most Catholic schools are unisex, or co-ed. The uniform of Catholic schools usually have an emblem along with the school colors. The school year in the Philippines starts in June and ends in March, with a 2-month summer break from April to May, 2-week semester break in October, and Christmas and New Year's holiday. In 2005, the Philippines spends about $138 per pupil compared to $1,582 in Singapore and $3,728 in Japan and $852 in Thailand. As how other countries influence us into our culture, it also influences us to the field of counseling. Counseling, as conceived in the United States, began in the Philippines, with 2 colleges in Manila providing guidance services geared towards identifying professions and employment opportunities and establishing the first psychological clinic in the University of the Philippines. The growth of guidance and counseling was interrupted by the Japanese occupation from 1941 to 44. From the 1940s to the 1960s was a period of counselor training as Filipinos obtained training and degrees in the United States and established academic counseling programs when they returned into the country. The birth of 2 associations most influential and most instrumental in the regulation of this profession: the Psychological Association of the Philippines and the Philippine Guidance and Counseling Association, happened at this time. From the 1970s to the 1990s, the movement in counseling was primarily indigenization of assessments, construction of theories, focusing on the difference between counseling models learned in the United States.